And you on this side. Okay.
All right, Ebenezer. Uh, Ja, we're about to start it. And
Yeah, one person.
Okay, we're ready to go when you're ready.
I'll keep tabs.
All right.
On the
all right,
thing that we have it there. Well, I'll log on here.
all right. So today we have a brief agenda. As far as like welcoming remarks. So we got a notice of hearing. There's a new school being constructed in the Sherman Creek area that will house approximately 3 to 4 schools from the district. To the committee, I'll be emailing everybody around about who those schools are. And yeah, so I'll be sending out the email as far as the notice if folks want to go to that hearing. It's virtual. And they'll be discussing the relocation of several schools from the district into that building. That hearing is going to be taking place December 5th, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just pull up the information so it can be accurate. Yeah, so that meeting will be taking place December 5th at 6 p.m. via the DOE's portal. It's a district planning meeting for the school. So anybody interested, please reach out to the board office and we will share the information. We will also be sending in the information via our listserv. So make sure that according to this document, it's Tuesday, December 5th, 2023 at 6 p.m. Ebenezer, am I correct on that? Because I'm seeing the notice of joint public hearing right now that was shared to the office. So somebody in the comments said it's on December 6th. The document we have says December 5th. You got a joint hearing?
There are two meetings, one on the 5th, one on the 6th.
Okay. For the same, I'm assuming for the same, for the planning meeting, correct?
Yes, let me see if I can find the document that I send you.
I have it. I have it. Yes, two meetings. It's the 5th and the 6th.
Yes.
So there's two meeting dates on the 5th and the 6th. And it's talking about one is for potential changes to building M153 and share feedback. So I'm assuming that new building is going to be called M153, if I'm not mistaken, I believe.
Yes.
Mention which schools.
So the schools that will be moving into that building are referred to as PS18 from building M898 to building 502 to recite. So it's going to recite MS 278, MS 918.
And can you repeat that?
I'll send you the document.
Got it.
But it looks like it's reciting about 3 schools into this new building that's being constructed. So we'll have much more accurate information when we send it out to the listserv. So we encourage everybody, if you haven't done so yet, to please join our listserv so you can get the most up-to-date and accurate information. So it is correct. There is 2 meeting dates on the 5th and the 6th. So just if folks are available, just join. It's a planning meeting, so community feedback will be welcomed, and make sure that you provide. This is a new building being built, to make sure that our community voices are heard. Besides that, everything Oh, it's going well. We had several meetings. I've had several meetings with the executive committee around seeing ways that we could maintain accountability within our board and within its members. You know, the community board shouldn't be a place where people use it solely for resume references, but folks actually have to show up and do the work. We have a community that needs all of us, and is looking forward to everybody's experiences so that we could help mold a much better experiences for youth. I'm saying that to say that I'm pushing for an accountability committee within the board so that we could address attendance issues and just members who are not necessarily contributing to the everyday workings on the board, but yet they're holding up space from somebody who could be actually contributing to the progress of the board. So I wanted to share that with the committee just to let folks know what I've been working on. And yeah, so we have December 5th and 6th. We have a public notice for a planning / community feedback, and look forward to seeing committee members there. And then our next month meeting, we'll be hosting community connections with another organization within our community to be able to share what type of resources are available out there for our youth. With that being said, we're going to move on to elected official updates. I believe we had a great meeting last month with Carmen De La Rosa as far as the agenda from the educational committee and what the city has going forward. I'll be reaching out to both our state senators and assembly members to see what's happening at the statewide level. So expect that to happen next month. So we could see what areas we could align with when it comes to legislation and what type of resolutions we should be putting forth to support initiatives and legislations that truly benefit our community. One thing I will say is I will be working with Steve Simon, the chair of the Health and Environment Committee, on legislation that's currently in Albany regarding false advertisement and the impact it has on youth when you brand something as healthy when it's actually not. So we'll be working on a joint resolution to advocate that there should be consequences for false advertisements, particularly for youth. So just putting that out there, and that's something that we will be asking our state representatives to support us on as well. So expect the resolution to come out next month. Supporting the bill, I'm still trying to garner as much information as I can and see what what the bill's about. But just trying to make sure that we get a resolution out to support that bill, and that we also get our state elected officials to be on the same page and let them know that we're looking to provide an input on the bill, and we look for their support as well.
This legislation in the city council?
It's on the state level.
On the state level.
So the state is it was brought to us about 2 weeks ago that the state has legislation that seeks to whether it's penalties, but there's going to be ramifications for false advertisement for youth when it comes to like nutritious food misadvertised as such, you know. So we'll be looking to write a resolution supporting that bill once we see it's in the tip of my tongue, but I can't really say it right now. Intricacies of the bill, and see what it's all about, and see areas that we could support it and areas we could strengthen. I don't know yet. I'm working with Steve Simon on it. I have it on my notes as far as I could definitely share it. So when you send me the information, I'll send you the number of the bill, but I have it in one of my notes.
Okay.
All right. So with that being said, I want to welcome Luis Melendez from Parks Department. He will be doing our community connections this week. So community connections, Louis, is something that we're trying to add to the agenda where we're bringing in resources and basically providing a segment of the agenda where you have 20 minutes to respond to questions, provide your presentation, and engage in a conversation with the members. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I think this is such a natural fit. We presented at the um at the parks CB12 meeting in September, and just thought that it made made more sense to sort of also present for the youth and education, since most of these programs are actually led by their education initiatives. So we thought this was like a great fit. So thank you for having me. I definitely appreciate that. So I can, if you're all ready, I can start with the
Go ahead, Louis.
presentation.
And Louis, you have 20 minutes.
Okay. Oh, it says that the host disabled participant screen sharing.
All right, Louis, I just made you a host.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Perfect. So hello everyone. My name's Luis Melendez. I'm a supervising dock master at Dyckman Marina for the Parks Department. Here to talk about kind of like the waterfront programming that we have been able to add to Dyckman Marina since we took over the site in the fall of 2019. So like I said earlier, the majority of these programs are related to youth education surrounding the marine ecology and maritime aspects of the harbor. So let me just... Sorry, can you all see that?
No,
It's blank right now.
it's a dark screen.
Okay, let's see.
Historically, there's been issues when the slideshow is made to be a full slideshow, but we could try it.
Okay. Let's see. There we go. Okay. So, before I start on the slideshow, just give a brief background on myself, who I am, and sort of my introduction to the New York Harbor. So I kind of went to this public high school called the New York Harbor School. It's a career and technical education high school located in Bushwick, Brooklyn, and now operates on Governor's Island. And then that's where I kind of got my first exposure to the harbor, working on the water through programs with the South Shore Seaport Museum, connecting us on boats, sailing historic tall ships, and also studying the marine life that kind of like lives in the harbor. So then after that, after graduating high school, I kind of went into the working field and was able to work as a captain on various boats in the harbor, and then also go back to the harbor school and kind of co-teach classes on vessel operations and aquaculture, where students learn to work and drive boats and also learn to grow oysters and algae to sort of the algae to feed the oysters, but the oysters to go back in the harbor and kind of like work to restore the oyster population. Yeah. And then after that, I just worked at, so today my current role at Parks is I'm working to bring these programs to the Dyckman Marina and to Dyckman Marina for local community to sort of have that same experience. Sorry about that. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of jump into it just so I have more time for questions. So this is kind of our first group here is Hudson River Community Sailing. They're kind of like our anchor tenant. They're a parks concession that operates at Dyckman Marina 7 days a week during the summer. And they're a nonprofit. They work with New York City youth. They provide sailing and maritime education through after school programs, summer camps, and internships. Participating students in those programs work towards receiving their first aid in CPR, their U.S. Sailing Basic Keelboat certification, and their New York State Safe Boating certification. They also partner with the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs to offer their sailing programs to people with disabilities. So during the boating season, they also offer a free kind of public sail for the public once a month. It's free. It's all the dates are listed on their website, so I highly recommend checking that out. Anyone can sign up for it. And then HRCS through their partnership with Impossible Dream, they also were able to bring Impossible Dream to the site. So they're at Dyckman Marina for a week in September, and they run a joint program for their adaptability program. Now, Impossible Dream is also open when it's here for the week. It's open to run. It's open for the public for deck tours that entire time it's here, but it's also open to offering sales to schools and community groups. That's something that we're like currently working on developing. Next one here, I mentioned them earlier, the Billy Norcia Project. Like I said before, they're an education, environmental focused nonprofit that works to restore oysters in New York Harbor. They mainly operate on Governor's Island as well, but they have what they call here is their oyster research stations. You can kind of see them in this kind of bottom right photograph here. You can see a cage with a bunch of oysters kind of hanging out. So these kind of oyster research stations, they engage students, teachers, schools, and community groups in environmental restoration and stewardship. So schools and community groups basically will adopt one of these ORSs and then have field trips where they go to the site and the students monitor the growth of the oyster. They track their mortality, and they also kind of like identify the different marine species that are attracted to the ORSs. We have 3 of these ORSs at Dyckman now currently, but we're we're also like in talks to expanding the site a little bit more, turning it into what they call the field station that will bring more ORSs to the site. And Bill and Norcia Project also partners with City Parks Foundation for their coastal classroom program. So here it's another sort of active monitoring session. On the photo to the right, you can kind of see the students checking for mortality, checking the health of the oyster, but also measuring there. And on the photo to the left here, you can kind of see these 2 kind of like plastic tanks where the students will kind of pour in any kind of species that they find in the cages and use this kind of guide down here to sort of identify those species. Then here we have Hudson River Sloop Clearwater. It's most people know it as Pete Seeger's Clearwater, which was built in 1968 and has a long history of sailing around the harbor, educating the public on marine ecology, sail training, and inspiring stewardship of the Hudson River and its tributaries here. So yeah, so prior to Parks operating Dyckman, the Clearwater ran a lot of its program out of the 79th Street Boat Basin. But after the closure, we were able to relocate them here to run their programs out of Dyckman. So we kind of work together to provide deck tours to the general public, schools, and community groups. And we also assist Clearwater with identifying local groups for free educational sail. And then this next slide, we have Fresh Youth Initiatives. We were able to find them through the CB12 education page, and kind of we're calling a lot of groups on the summer to offering a free sail up. Fresh Youth Initiative was first to sort of take us up on it and mobilize and meet us on site, and was able to go out on that sail. So this is kind of like, this right here is kind of like what we want to do more of, right? We find those opportunities, and we want to be able to create a better kind of like streamlined connection where we're able to sort of plan these opportunities out, but also have a network of school groups and community groups that we can sort of reach out to and offer these opportunities. And then Parks also hosts New York Harbor School internship. We host a rising senior as part of our what we call our Dock Master Apprenticeship program. So in order for students in the high school to receive course credit towards their CTE endorsement, they kind of have to complete an internship. And here it's kind of like the perfect, these Parks Marinas and Harbor School, especially the vessel operation program here, it's just a natural fit where the students get to use the skills that they learn over their 4 years in high school. Here we have an intern kind of driving a boat under supervision, of course, driving the boat to check a mooring field here, inspect our mooring field, also work on docks to assist with repairs, and also boat repairs here, as well as building kayak racks for storage. And then this next slide, we have our kind of inter-agency collaboration with Urban Park Rangers, where we host 2 sessions, one in the fall, one in the spring. And it's a joint effort to have Urban Park Rangers bring their Conservation Corps internships and have marina staff kind of like educate the interns on marinas, safe boating, and marine ecology. Here I'm kind of leading a oyster demo, kind of like an oyster intro, teaching them about the oysters and its key role in the harbor, as well as investigating an ORS. And we also give them the opportunity to kind of like drive a boat for the first time, do some boat handling. Yeah, and then now we'll probably just transition into some of the other uses of the facility. Our next door neighbors, Inwood Canoe Club, they kind of host free community paddling on the weekends during the season, as well as adaptive paddling programs. And on this photo to the right, you can kind of see they also use our classroom space for a general meeting space. They run navigation courses up there, but we kind of offer this space as kind of like an on-site classroom. It's open to the community. It's open to the community. We're actually looking for more use of the space. Hudson River Community Sailing is the only active group that uses the space for their after-school program, but we would love to see more groups kind of like take advantage of this free space on the water. And then we also support other groups like Rock in the Boat and Village Community Boathouse, who run their annual row around Manhattan. So they'll take a pit stop at Dyckman for kind of like a lunch bathroom break during that long row. Yeah, so if adding my contact information here so that if anyone has any questions or requests for the classroom space, please feel free to shoot me an email. We'd love to kind of like work together to see more use of that classroom space, but also the site itself.
Presentation, Louis. Thank you so much. Now, as per usual, right? And I'm somebody who's extremely optimistic, but we also got to be realistic as well, right? As somebody who sees how, for instance, the High Bridge Rec Center operates and the potential for so much good stuff being programmed in there, but yet the lack of connections to the community, right? What would you say are some of the schools that you have partnered up with? And then my follow-up question would be, are the partner organizations that you're seeking to collaborate with also partnering up with schools in the district?
Yeah, so that's a great question. As of right now, I don't have a list of schools that these partners are working with. However, I think this is what we're trying to look for as a first step to start identifying the schools and making that connection.
And I'm down to help you. I'm pretty well connected in the district as far as like now my biggest thing is most of this program catered to elementary age children, middle school or high school age kids.
Depending on the program, they're catered to all. Like Bill and Nurture Project, we had fourth graders on the site measuring the oysters. We've had third and fourth graders on Clearwater. And yeah, so I would say all groups.
Okay, so I'll be definitely be reaching out to you, Louis, with some leads as far as like school principals who I know would value to partner up with this sort of program.
Yeah, please do. I highly appreciate it.
I had a quick question. Louis, if you know, are those two schools that you mentioned the only schools in New York City that have harbor programs? I've just never heard of this. This is really interesting and I love this. I was born and raised in New York City, went to middle school, elementary school, high school here, public school all my life. And I've never heard of these programs. So I'm just like very intrigued. So thank you so much for sharing this information with us. But I'm curious to know whether any high schools really have this kind of stuff, or were those, you know, those two schools that you mentioned the exceptions?
Yeah, so New York Harbor School is kind of like the first of its kind in New York City. Yeah, definitely. There's no sort of mirrored program to that as of yet. I mean, the city sees value in this programming. Billy Norshire Project was actually, it's that nonprofit came out of Harbor School and was able to partner with more schools to kind of bring the marine science element to as many classrooms as they can kind of get it to. But yeah, so far it's just New York Harbor School, but I know the city plans on sort of expanding. I've heard even Mayor Adams kind of visited the school and talked about the value.
And I have a follow-up question, and I'm not sure if you know this, but how do you guys, or these programs, how do they actually get the youth interested in this kind of information? Because I feel like you kind of, it's kind of like you could only do like what you know, right? So like growing up, I didn't know this was a thing. I had no idea about oysters. Probably don't even know anything now as an adult. But you know, how do you guys actually get youth to be interested in this program? Like, how can I tell my nephew, you know, listen, you should look at this and be on the water? I'm just curious.
Yeah.
That's even on the mind, you know, in the back of the minds of our youth. A lot of them are on video games and I don't know, all sorts of stuff, but this is some really interesting stuff. So just curious to know if you have any tips or if you know.
Sure. Yeah. No, I would say the best thing is exposure, right? So I think it's kind of great. And like the Fresh Youth Initiative is a prime example where that particular group had never been on a boat before. So that opportunity, we're able to sort of connect them there. And it was their first time on the boat. And I think it starts from there. That's how it started for me. I sailed on a very similar boat as Clearwater when I was 13. And then X amount of years later, it's like a big part of my life, right? I'm still on the harbor, still on boats. But before the high school, I've never been on a boat before. So it's going to be that exposure for sure. Same thing with the oysters.
From attendees, we'll start with you.
If you're looking to hear the camera, make sure I look at you.
I will start with you, Al.
Yeah.
So, yeah, before my question, I just I had a comment.
Okay.
Yeah, just to offer to you guys. Years ago in a prior lifetime when I worked with the Police Athletic League, and I was director of a team program. We did a partnership agreement with the New York Harbor School when they were still out in Bushwick. They were in Bushwick High School. And what impressed me, besides the program in which I got to know a little bit, when I went to that high school, the neighborhood high school, Bushwick High School, had metal detectors and students arguing with the security guards in the lobby. Where the entrance for the harbor school didn't have a metal detector. And when I got up to the school, there were no students wandering around, you know, bantering. Everybody was at a desk doing like drawings and doing science and math. And it was, you know, I think it was the real deal because I walked in pretty much unannounced to the students. And to me, that suggested to me that they were developing a culture of participation that we're talking about, where students were really serious in learning about this stuff. I think at the time it was mostly boat building and a little bit of environmental education, but it was good stuff. So that leads me to my question. In terms of visits to your program, I think a one-day visit is a good thing as an introduction to environmental education, both safety and the like. But how much of your program is built around students that come for repeat visits? Because I've seen a lot of research when students get involved in nature type of education over an extended period, at least the 2 weeks or maybe a month of interaction. It's not only about learning the technical skills, but it's also about changing their psyches a bit.
Yep.
Where students that may have attention deficit disorder or problem behaviors, these type of programs are actually more effective in changing behaviors than giving young people pills.
Yep.
With the side effects, because they're actually changing their attitudes about themselves and about their friends. So do you have at least a certain percentage of extended period education with these groups at this point, or is that something that you're working on developing?
Yeah, it's definitely something that we are working on developing. I'm sure each one of these partner organizations have their own metrics on how they kind of keep track of returning students, returning participants. But yeah, as far as that's what we would like to see. We want to see more kind of like new faces as well as old faces that just visit, love the harbor, Dykeman Marina. It's accessible. They can come by and yeah, be a part of these programs.
Yeah.
Kind of related to that, I know you mentioned the certification, I think, for boat safety. It is a kind of like institutional certification in Park where you can kind of incorporate certain elements and, students can get, say, high school credit or middle school credit for doing this learning.
I think,
it adds to their
I
diploma.
think what they're focusing more on is like being like a space and having the partners develop the programming,
Right.
and then they travel, I'm assuming, to their space. So it really all depends on the nonprofits or the organizations developing these type of programs, and then I'm assuming they would facilitate the usage of the space to be able to support whatever curriculum or whatever, which is pretty cool. Like I think this is something that more nonprofits, as they are looking for more environmentally friendly programs and experiential learning, as far as like teaching youth about the environment, would literally, because usually as somebody who directs a nonprofit, the issue is not necessarily the curriculum, it's the experiential learning component of what type of spaces can we take advantage of.
Yeah.
So alongside the curriculum, so that the youth get a hands-on experience, and I think this will be pretty dope. And I look forward to really like figuring out ways, Louis, of seeing how strategically, like for instance, at PS 132, students are already developing hydroponics rooms. They're already in the cultivation space, and I think the maritime is something that lacks in this community as far as like exposure to youth. Like I went to George Washington High School. The closest thing I saw to the marina was looking at the marina that's right there on the East Side River from my class, and I would always wonder, like, how do people get on the water? You know what I'm saying? So for me, it was just so to see you, Louis, and being able to see the potential and the impact that programs like these have, and for nonprofits to really step up and be like, yo, you know what? We're gonna do it alongside parks, because honestly, one of the hardest things, Al, is being able to find the space to be able to have this. So being able to partner up with parks now, there's just one item that's checked off the box now. So I really do appreciate that, Louis. I know Louis Cruz had a question. Louis, you there? He must have stepped away.
No, I'm here.
Okay.
So this was an interesting presentation. And my question is, do you know what will be the process for community partners in terms of partnerships? What will be the process?
So at this point, I would definitely say we can start off with an email. All all of the partners that you saw so far on this slideshow, the Marina Division or myself or someone within our group has had kind of like a prior relationship connection with. So it was easy to kind of bring them to the fold. But now I would say definitely the first step is to send an email with the information of the group, and then we can go from there.
Yeah. We would love Lewis to have 1,000 kids from Washington Heights hit the water by next summer, which is
Sure,
not,
if
it's not
you can
impossible.
provide us with information, we will be happy to share it.
Yeah, I will add I would add my contact information again on the chat.
Perfect. Oh,
Any other questions from attendees? Anybody else have a question before we move on? Going once, I know that there was somebody in there that asked Brauli Peña Peralta. I'm not sure if you have a question that you would like to ask him. He asked a question on the chat. Greetings, Lewis. I will be emailing you shortly. I am definitely looking forward to partnering up with you and your program available to our youth. Okay, Washington Heights and other areas of NYC. So you have somebody who's also interested in collaborating. We have Steve Simon, board member, but also works for Parks. Steve, I just promoted you as a panelist. Yeah, so like I was saying, Steve knows my frustration with the rec center. So it's good to see that there's other components of Parks that's actively engaged in the community in order to really activate these spaces for the betterment of not only the community, but to be able to provide a service to you. So thank you so much, Lewis. I will be emailing you. So I hope to hear back from you. And if there's no more questions, we're going to move on.
Just thank you again
Thank
for
you
sharing
again.
all that information.
Absolutely. Thank you for
Yeah.
having me.
Thank you. So now we're moving on to committee business, collaborations and planning. Honestly, like committee business, I look to table it for next month because I feel like we have a lot going on for next month. All I would say is I encourage everybody to come to the planning meeting happening December 5th and 6th. Everybody's input is welcome, particularly when we look at the inception of a new school in the district that's going to be housing schools that have been in the district prior to. So I think it's a great time to be able to provide input as far as what type of amenities and the essence of the building, so that our community has another space that actually serves our community. All right. And that sounded pretty oxymoron, right? Another space. But so we're moving on to announcements. We have Al Kirkland here. Hold on. We have something called community partners so I can't technically table committee business. We have a standing item in the agenda where we try to get organizations within the district to be able to provide updates on something a little bit more intentional than just simply announcements. So feel free to provide information about your organization, what y'all do. We're looking to schedule them for next month for our community connections portion of the agenda. So with that being said, Al Kirkland from Uptown Youth Collective.
Okay, thank you. So, Al Kirkland, as you said, Uptown Youth Collective. Yeah, so basically, the collective is not a formal organization. It's not a 501c3 or anything like that. But what it is, it's interested partners, some of whom come from funded organizations like Catholic Charities and Every Community Services, and then others who are small independent youth providers that are looking for some things in common in order to bring more help and more services, especially to young people who traditionally are not necessarily connected to either schools or organizations that can help them. They either already be in trouble or kind of on the borderline, moving in that direction. So, what we've done over the past, probably almost a year now, is we've, conducted a series of planning meetings among providers and come up with what we call 3 legs, for our program. The first has to do just with the act of collaborating, finding out about what services organizations have that may benefit another organization that does not have that service. So for instance, one organization may be great in recreation services, but have young people within their program that are in need of counseling services. So if we have a collaborative arrangement, one organization could benefit from the other, and helping in that, thing, and that's where the rapid referral service comes in. Where, an organization could submit, a referral request form, say for counseling, it goes into the Uptown Youth Collective, and without, sharing, personal information or violating a person's right to privacy, you could still get that person connected to another agency where they could get help. It could be with counseling, it could be with, test prep. It could be a young person that's just looking for a recreation service. They don't know where to go and, get into a well-structured, fun basketball league and get that service. And then, the newest development we have is, we have one of our members, his name is Joseph Sanchez, who up until a month ago worked as a program manager for the Parks Department, but he is now, left them to do this program full time. It's a program that got funded through the federal government. What's called a Credible Messenger program. And what a Credible Messenger is a person that may have been in trouble or kind of out there before, that's turned their lives around, and they have the ability to reach out to other young people that are in problematic circumstances and be listened to, because they seem more credible to that person. And come in and they may, come in and just get a mentor to talk to set them on a track where they could be kind of pulled away from a problematic path and get on a path where they get some help. So what we're looking to do is, with your permission to do a presentation, next month. Possibly become like a community partner.
We're gonna actually, so I have, next month, we potentially have, I believe, what's it called? Legal Aid Society reached out,
Right.
Around the new youth program that they're developing. So we could definitely either put it under community connections or partner updates. The partner updates are supposed to be more like announcements and
Right.
some time to like really share like some of the work happening, as opposed to just making an announcement of something happening. It could be both, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, hey, look, similar to what you were able to provide at the moment, which is a presentation around what seems to be a coalition of not-for-profits, and like, hey, look, now we have this program emerging out of it. We're looking to educate the community on how they could get involved and what the program is about. I think is the essence of that. But I also think it's intentional to do it a little bit more. Like, one thing we try to do with community connections is we develop a flyer and we share it to make sure that we get try to galvanize as much as possible the community and see who is interested in having them come and engage in the conversation. But we would definitely, we'll figure it out, or we'll back and we'll speak back and forth. Like, if anything, we potentially might have depending on what the presentation is for Legal Aid Society in January, and we'll figure it out.
Right. Yes. What we would do is, rather than listening to me, that's just kind of an advocate for the whole organization. We would have a couple of people come in that are directly running one of the 3 legs. So, for instance, it might not be Joseph Sanchez himself, but it might be one of his lieutenants that's actually engaged with young people in the Credible Messenger process.
Okay.
Give you a much clearer feel what's going on.
That'd be great.
And also describe the mechanisms, how organizations can get connected, to kind of steer some of their people that are wavering on the edge, towards the help. And the same thing with the referral system. We have a young, partner in the program, Peter,
Mhm.
who's working with, a referral form and a referral network. Maybe we can introduce that process to you.
All right, perfect,
as part of the
perfect.
presentation.
So yeah,
Make it more concrete, so
Yeah.
it's not just an abstract thing.
looking forward to it,
Sounds
whatever,
really great.
as long as it's good programming that supports the development of young men and women, we're all for it. And now we're gonna go to Naomi from the CEC. I don't know, Naomi, if you wanna provide a brief update into what's going on at the CEC. Yeah.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity. I
And
just
Naomi,
want,
Noemi, I'm sorry.
yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I just wanted to reiterate the joint public hearing that's going to be scheduled for the Office of District Planning. It's going to be via Zoom. So
Yeah.
it's going to be happening the 5th and the 6th. The 5th, we're going to be focusing on PS 18, which is in building M89, and we're also going to be having the reciting of PSMS 278 for building M18, I believe, yes. And then the proposal to expand PS 368 from 5K to from K5 to K8. And the last announcement is that we have our calendar meeting this week, Thursday at 6 o'clock at IS 223, which is Mont Hall. And that's it from our end. Thank you.
Quick question, Noemi. So it's 3 schools that are gonna be that are gonna be housed in this new building? Or just one? It's 2 and the expansion of one of them from K through 8.
Yes, 2 schools and the expansion of 1.
Okay. So if the expansion is not something the community agrees on, then that means that there's a middle school that has to be housed in there too, or a middle school being created in there. Is that what it is?
I believe that, well, it's already the proposal for the K through 8 is already in place. So,
Okay.
we want the community to just be aware of the availability of the seats that are going to be open.
Okay, I got it.
Mm-hmm.
No, because I was like, since it's a new building, I thought like, because initially I remember when they were doing because this is all part of the redistricting,
Mm-hmm.
they had to build that school. I thought they were doing an elementary school and a middle school in that building, but now I see that one of the schools is actually just going to be K through 8.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Alrighty.
All right, cool. I'm gonna try to make it, Noemi, on Thursday. So I'll let you know. I'll stay in communication with you to see. But I think what's dope is, and I actually want to commend Noemi for it. There has to be intercommunication between these different. I want to say like pseudo agencies. Like the CEC is the Community Educational Council. Then you have the community boards, which a lot of it intersects. So I really do appreciate you coming and taking the time to actually educate us on updates and anything that CEC is working on so that we could cross collaborate and be more supportive towards one each other. So I really do appreciate that, Norman.
Thank you, Domingo. Appreciate you guys.
All right. Any other partner who would love to provide an update? Going once? Twice? Okay. We have somebody, Arlene, from Jazz Power.
Yes. Hi, everybody. Good evening. How are you?
Hey, how's it going, Arlene?
Going good. Arlene Rodriguez, Program Manager for Jazz Power Initiative. Thank you for the space. It's always very wonderful to see how the community can come together and work together. I wanted to let you all know that in our organization, Jazz Power Initiative, which is an organization that looks to transform lives through jazz, arts education, and community concerts, we are opening our latest youth program, which is going to be servicing second to fourth graders, where we're going to introduce them into the world of jazz and arts performances through singing and movement. So this program starts on January 6th. It runs for 6 weeks on Saturdays, from 12 to 1. And for the low cost of only $5 per class. So it's a total of $30 for this great program. It's going to be here in Inwood. You don't have to go way downtown to get high quality programming, especially in the prep of arts performances like singing and theater and movement. The teaching artist is going to be Sofia Tosello, an incredible Argentinian singer that also is great with kids and has a lot of accolades, but time is short. I just wanted to let everybody know about this and for everybody to please visit us. We are a great resource here in Inwood and for Washington Heights for arts education. And again, at very low prices. Mostly this is the range of pricing of our programs and paired with excellent teaching artists. So yeah, please visit at jazzpower.org or let me know. I'll leave my contacts in the chat.
Arlene, do you guys have a flyer for this program that's coming up?
Yes, I do. I can send it over. Should I put it here could I put it?
No, send it over so that the office could e-blast it. I'm gonna put my email here. Just send it over so I can have Ebenezer e-blast it to the entire listserv.
Great.
Y una pregunta, Arlene. When it comes to partnerships with schools, right? So I work in the district, and a lot of what's happening now is we have organizations from all over the city coming, but yet there's so many great organizations happen in our community, right? They might not necessarily have the communication channels to be able to reach these principals directly, but I know that there's principals that are looking for great programming for their kids, particularly in elementary schools. Do you know by any chance if they're looking to collaborate with schools, like if a school were to house the program and provide the programming for the kid? I'm gonna put my email there so you can reach out and we can have a conversation about that. Because I know that I think she must have lagged out.
Oh, yeah. Oh, she's here.
Yeah,
We can't hear you, Arlene,
yeah, we can't hear you.
but we can still see.
All right. Does it work, Arlene?
Yeah, I kind of dropped in a bit.
Okay.
But yeah, regarding collaboration with schools, yes, we do residencies in schools, and we normally cater to the school's needs. Sometimes schools have and it doesn't have a music teacher, and depending on their needs and of course budget, we can accommodate to that. We have done residencies in City College Academy for the Arts of catering to their needs. We did 3 residencies, one for 4 weeks, another for 8, and another for 12 weeks. We are currently right now in PS 278 doing a 2-month residency as well that we're gonna the Little Ones Elementary School is gonna showcase for winter, a winter recital. So yeah, we definitely partner with schools as well as our after school programs in order for supporting arts education.
Okay, perfect. I put my email there, so just send me an email so I can have yours. I have a few schools that might be interested in that
Perfect.
here in
Perfect.
Washington Heights. All right.
Okay, thank you so much, guys.
All right. Bye-bye. Anybody else?
Crowley, would like to know how can he get the organization he works for on the Community Connection for the next meeting in December? You want to answer? He asked. in the chat.
Hold up. I'm gonna unmute him.
So you can share what organization.
Hey, how's it going, Browley? What organization is it?
How you doing? So I currently work for Grow Up, Grow Out, New York City.
What?
Grow Up, Grow Out, New York City.
Grow up, grow out. Okay.
Yeah, so we're a new startup in New York City. We're pretty much we have developed in other states, but we're coming to New York City next. So we're funded by Espaillat. And
Okay.
we're in the Washington Heights area, so we're looking to partner up with some other organizations in order to provide youth with alternate means. Hold on, Bobby. Espérate, Bobby. Hold on. I'm sorry about that. I got my son over here. He got his shots today. So we're looking to partner up with other organizations that are looking to do the same, providing alternate ways for youth to kind of veer away from violence within the Washington Heights community.
All right.
Look at that.
Just
We went through the same thing.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So if you can just send me did you see my email there? I sent it to everyone. It's dejrcb12m@gmail.com. Just send me an email there so we could put schedule a time for you to come and provide a presentation for your program.
Perfect. I appreciate you guys.
All right. All right. Anybody else? You have your hand up, Arlene. Is there something you want to say, or is old hand? Okay.
Oh, that's an old hand.
All right. So with that being said, I want to thank everybody for participating this month. I look forward to having everybody join us next month. Next month, we're really tackling a legislation that we're looking to get a resolution, a joint resolution. I'm gonna be working with my colleague Steve Simon on that. I got to reach out to him regarding that. Steve, do you remember the legislation number for the false advertisement for healthy food?
Sponsor.
Do you remember it or no? I don't think Steve is there. I'll do the due diligence, but I feel like we have to come together and write a resolution because it is pretty concerning when you have something that's advertised as healthy actually doing the opposite. So we're gonna work with our elected officials and do our due diligence to make sure that we do our part in providing our recommendations to that bill and writing a resolution towards it. And then just hearing from our statewide elected officials next month in regards to what's going on, what educational updates, and what legislation is out there to look out for that benefits our community and our particularly our youth. So with that being said, I look forward to seeing everybody next month. I hope everybody could join us December 5th and 6th in the planning meeting. And stay tuned. I believe Ebenezer will be sending out the information soon to the listserv. So if you're not signed up for the listserv, just reach out to the office at 212-568-8500. And they'll be able to give you the steps that you need to take in order to be able to do that. And Carmen will have the last words.
No, not the last word. I just wanted to quickly share, this is for our fellow community board members. It's the community board leadership training this week. I actually joined one of the trainings, I actually joined both of the trainings earlier today. One for Robert's Rules of Orders and Parliamentary, and the other one was on conflicts of interest. So just sharing with our fellow community board members, if you have time, please join them. I found them to be very helpful. And I thought it was very interesting. So there's a series of them going on all week. Hopefully get to see y'all on there.
Cool. All right, with that being said, hope everybody has a good night. See you all next month.